Okay, let's talk about dentin. Dentin is the second hardest tissue in the body. So it's gonna be 70% inorganic. Again, that means mineral, and mineral means calcium, hydroxy, apatite, formula, calcium 10, BO4, 6, OH2. It's gonna be 20% organic and 10% water. We also have another types of ions like fluoride and carbonate, but in much smaller proportions. Dentin is yellowish. Its colors is yellowish. Okay. So we produce dentin to do a process named dentinogenesis, and let's review the dentinogenesis, starting from the development of the tooth. You remember the outer layer of the dental papilla are going to differentiate it into odontoblasts. Odontoblasts are going to produce predentin, which are their matrix, right? And predentin, when gets mineralized, it becomes dentin. Very, very simple process. Now, let's make a discussion about the anatomy and the structure of the dentin. Okay, so let's see the types of dentin and the anatomy location of them. See that this time I'm drawing the enamel much smaller, but you know, the outer part over here I'm gonna paint in yellow. It's still the enamel. Last time I painted the dentin orange, but right now I'm gonna color different because we're gonna have different types of dentin. Okay, so remember, here in the middle we're gonna have the pulp. Okay, so the rest is gonna be all dentin. So the main characteristics of dentin is that it is a bunch of microtubules. Okay, so the microtubules are gonna be like this. Okay, so dentin have all these microtubules. So this is the main characteristic of dentin. But well, first let's identify some structures over here. So I'm gonna painting in green over here, the outermost layer, close to the dentino-enamel junction. Okay, so this yellow, I'm sorry, this green part, which is the external part, we're gonna call mental dentin. Mantle dentin is the outermost layer of dentin. It's the first dentin to be produced, right? Because dentin grows inside to outside. Close to the pulp over here, we have another type of dentin. I'm gonna make pink. So this is gonna be the circumpulpar dentin. Okay, that's the red. It's just around of the pulp. So okay, now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take a piece of this over here and make it bigger. Okay, so I told you that dentin is made of microtubules. Okay, so and those microtubules, they are arranged like this. Okay, so the inside part, the walls of the tubules, which I'm gonna make in orange. See, just this part that make the walls of the tubules over here, we're gonna call this peritubular dentin. Okay, peritubular dentin. So the dentin that it's in between those tubules, okay, this in between the tubules, we're gonna call intertubular dentin. Okay, so this is the intertubular dentin, and this is the peritubular dentin. The peritubular dentin is the dentin that produce the walls of the microtubules, and in between the microtubules we have the intertubular dentin. Okay, so you see this over here is a tubule over here, one, and then the second tubule is over here, and then we have another one over here, and like that goes. Okay, so the most important thing is that on the periphery of the pulp, actually, we have the odontoblast. Okay, we have the odontoblast, and when they are producing the dentin, the odontoblast actually stays on the periphery of the pulp, but then it sends a projection over here inside of the microtubule of the dentin. So by the way, these microtubules, they are filled with water or a liquid, okay? And there is this projection that come from the odontoblast inside of the canaliculus, okay? Inside of this canaliculus, this dentin tubules, okay? So every time that you have a cavity, like a cavity over here, if you have a cavity over here, and this is exposed, so the water is gonna make a movement on this nerve cell over here, which is the odontoblast, which is gonna transmit to the pulp, and then it's going to go to the central nervous system, causing pain. That's the hydrodynamic theory of the pain. Okay, is how we explain the pain in the tooth. Okay, so that said, the most important thing to know is not all about these different types of dentins, but the dentins that form during the tooth formation and after that. And then for that we have three types of dentin. Those are really the important ones. The first one we're gonna call primary dentin. And the primary dentin is formed before the completion of the apical foramen. Formed before the completion of apical foramen. Well, then we have the secondary dentin, which is the dentin formed after the completion of the apical foramen. And formation of secondary dentin occurs during your whole life, okay? So throughout whole life, okay? But then there is a third type of dentin, which we're gonna call tertiary. Tertiary dentin is a very special dentin. Every time that a cavity is getting too close to the pulp, then the pulp is going to react forming this kind of dentin. It's like a protection, okay? So tertiary dentin is going to be formed in response to a stimuli. For example, like a cavity getting too close to the pulp, okay? But the formation of tertiary dentin is really fast, which causes a irregular pattern. It's really disorganized. And it also has a very peculiar characteristic. It's dark in color. Because remember, we told all those dentins, they are all yellowish. Not this one. The tertiary dentin is dark in color. And that's all we have to talk about dentin.